Garbanzo beans. Simmer. 3 cans of coconut milk. 1 can of coconut cream. Make very sure you get unsweetened coconut cream. Good curry powder. Good garlic. Good salt. And saffron. Yes, saffron. These are getting close. I'm looking for translucent with just a little bit of color. I added a pinch of water. They were drying out some, keeping the lid on them. So just about done. Up next we'll add some bean water and some rice and we'll start that. Perfect. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. They're very tender, very clear, I got a little color. That'll give a little extra flavor. We'll put water or bean water and then rice in this, and then we'll cook that down to have some yellow rice with onion. Coming up next. Just starting to get warm. I'll bring it up to a pretty good simmer and give it at least 20 minutes, well, probably 30-45 minutes really. The sauce is basically done, but you can stand for more cooking. It doesn't hurt a thing. I added some saffron to the rice. I like the smell. Nice addition. Anyway, we'll be turning this on here in just a minute and see how it goes. This is what I'm looking for. We'll keep it here for about 20 more minutes and it should be about done. This is the part where I add the second dose of garlic powder. It's got about 20 minutes left, 30 minutes. Garlic's a very light aromatic oil, and cooking throws off some of it and it changes the flavor. So adding it at 2 different times, kind of like chili powder, gives you more garlic flavor, and then you still have the depths of the simmered garlic. Blah, blah, blah. Finally up to a nice simmer. Got about 15 to 20 minutes left still. Rice is just starting to get warm. I have the oven set on convection bake at 225 degrees. And I'll bring this up to a pretty good rolling boil for 3 minutes. And then stick in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes. I like to bring the rice up on a low heat. I've got a big burner, so it's still pretty high, but try not to bring it up too fast so it doesn't scorch. Okay, it's time to put it in the oven, 225 convection bake for half hour. So I've added some salt, a couple of hitches you saw. along the way. Quick tip on that salt. It's when you first try it, it might have a little bit of a bitter taste. Kind of hits the back of the palate. That means it needs more salt. It's kind of strange how the curry comes out, but if you keep adding a little salt, it doesn't get sweeter, but the curry hits your palate all across the tongue, and you get almost a little spiciness out of it. It really changes the character. So when you make sure you get enough salt in there to to bring out the flavor, because if not, it's literally almost a little bit bitter until you get enough salt, and then it's like, oh, there it is. Anyway, we're just about done. The rice has got maybe 5 more minutes. This is probably good enough here. Of course, it will get better tomorrow. But we'll be back for some more food fun. Now I'm reheating the garbanzo beans. They've been sitting in their water for a few hours. I like to cook them early and let them soak. I really like them tender for the curry chicken. I don't like them firm at all. Just a personal preference of mine. But anyway, I'll warm them back up, get them to a little bit of a simmer, and then I'll turn them off. And I'll turn off the curry chicken and let it sit for a few minutes and do its thing. Let the rice sit a few minutes, and then we'll plate it up. Everything's done. We'll let this cool off. Let the meat cool off and retract in, and we'll pull in some more flavoring into it. Not that it needs it. A note on the salt though, be sure to add enough salt to bring out the rest of the flavor. It really makes a difference. Saffron is optional, but boy, it smells so good I wouldn't know why you would want to, other than it's kind of expensive. Next up will be plating. Okay, now we're to the best part. Everything's ready to go. Start with some yellow rice. Some beans on there. I don't do anything to the garbanzo beans. The sauce has way more than enough flavor to compensate. Put a big thigh right there in the middle. Little sauce. And there it is. Hillbilly curry, my own creation. Hope you like it. Bring this up to heat, temperature on a low heat. No need to rush it. It doesn't really burn necessarily, but there's no need to hurry with it. And it's going to take a good hour once it's hot to really get the flavor where you want it. When you taste it, it'll taste gritty initially, and then after a couple hours of simmering, it gets very nice. Alright, we'll be back when it's more interesting. Alright, we're making curry. Hillbilly curry. I do everything I like on this just by feel, more or less. Going to be adding 5 pounds of skinless chicken thighs. Saffron is just something I like. You can't really taste it in the end product, but I love the smell, so there it goes. I'll add a good amount of garlic in the beginning, and then I'll add a little at the end to gain back some of it. And here's the secret. I save a little back for the rice so I can have some yellow rice to go with it. There. I saved that much for the rice. That's for the chicken. I'll be back. So now I've got to make my yellow rice. I have garbanzo beans are done, and the curry sauce is getting heavy, and we'll be putting the chicken in next. Like to use an onion. We'll saute this down, sweat them down, and we'll chop these fairly fine. And then we'll do some jasmine rice with some curry powder. I'm going to just saute these down or sweat them down inside the rice pan. And that way all the flavor will stay there and you don't have to dirty another pan. Add just a little bit of good olive oil. That helps with the rice cooking as well. I like to add salt. Helps the water come out of the onion a little better. Adding a little white pepper now. I like white pepper for the rice. The oil will extract some of the flavors out of the salt or the pepper while it's cooking. Anyway, I'll be back. Alright, next step is to take the skin off our chicken thighs and put them in the curry sauce that we've had simmering now for about an hour and a half all together. And my dog is about to have a stroke. So just peel it off. And we'll put it in our sauce. About 5.5 pounds of just thighs. Thighs work really well, they get tender. And I believe it's the kind of traditional meat, I think. But either way, the thighs work well. I find that the 4 cans of coconut milk and cream altogether are just about right for 5 pounds of chicken, about right for my pot, so kind of a good balance. One time I was trying to make chicken, legs and thighs, or maybe thighs actually, anyway. Let the oven warm up, had a pan full of frozen, wrong way, pan of frozen chicken on the stove, and I came in and there was a chicken thigh laying on the floor. My dog was acting all sheepish, so knew what happened there. You old thief, aren't you, buddy? Once I get these in here, I'll put this back on the stove and simmer it kind of low for probably 45 minutes or so, just till the chicken is like fall off the bone tender, and then you're done. The sauce, I brought it up to a pretty good boil to get the curry, softened up a little bit and getting happy. And then to make it simpler, I put it in the oven. My oven has a slow cook setting. Put it on low. That keeps it at about 195 degrees in there, and that works really well for cooking beans and simmering this. So anyway, that's hot, so I'll poke that down a little bit, put it on the stove, bring it up to a boil, and then we'll go from there. Up next is our yellow rice with some garbanzo beans. I like to recycle cooking water for various things. Adds a little flavor, but I do warn you, it could make it very farty. They've been parboiled, but it will increase the risk of that. But anyway. There's 1 cup of rice. Happen to have one left. This is, oh, here, Arkansas Rice Company. They make the best white rice in the world. Awesome stuff. We get it at Publix. Awesome. They got a whole line of rice. Good stuff. That's 1 cup of rice. We'll do 2 cups of bean water. Normally I would do about 2 1/8, 2 1/4, but the onions have a lot of moisture in them already. So if I add more, there's a good chance it'll be soupy before it soaks up all the water. So anyway, we'll put this on the stove. So what I'm going to do is boil this for like 3 minutes, just bring it up to the water. I'm going to put this in an oven at 225 degrees for 30 minutes exactly. That rice comes out perfect every time. White rice, jasmine rice, just basmati, whatever you call it. All in about 30-35 minutes is just perfect. But anyway, we'll get this going. Probably wait just a few minutes before I put this in because I just got the chicken started, so we'll let it simmer a while. But we'll be back. All right, let's get the seasoning in here and let this start calming down, or getting happy, I should say. Already has olive oil in there from the onions, and it has salt, but only just a little bit. Quite a bit of salt. That. Use white pepper. I don't really see it as much. And then the yellow part. This is the remainder of the curry from making the curry sauce. Alright, like I said, we'll let this sit on the stove for just a minute before we actually start cooking it for the give the chicken time to get caught up.